From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Good morning. Welcome to the Board of Supervisors regular meeting of Tuesday, June the 4th. Board to reconvene. The first item is roll call.
Supervisor Gleason.
Here.
Supervisor Scrivener.
Here.
Supervisor Maggard. Here. Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Here.
Thank you. The next item is the salute to the flag. It will be led by Supervisor Gleason this morning, and please remain standing at the conclusion of that for a moment of prayer, silence, or meditation, whichever you prefer. Please join me in salute. I pledge allegiance. Thank you. The next item is a report on actions taken in closed session from Tuesday, May 21st at our 2 p.m. session. Ms. Rezan.
Thank you, Chairman. We did meet in closed session following. Thank you, Chairman. We did meet in closed session following your last meeting. However, there is no reportable action.
Excuse me, thank you. The next item is the consent agenda. I've decided today to tell you what's on the consent agenda before I read all the other, how we're gonna handle the consent agenda. It starts on page 2, it consists of items 3 through 9 on page 2, continues on to page 3, items 12 through 18. On to page 4, all the items 19 through 27, page 5, all the items 28 through 36, page 6, all the items 37 through 44, page 7, all the items 45 through 52. Page 6, all the items 53 through 60. All those are on the consent agenda. We can act on those all with one motion unless any member of the public would like to make a comment or ask to, I'll get you in just 1 second, sir. Why don't you come to the microphone? We can get you right away. Or if there's any others that would like to make a comment on any item on the consent agenda or ask that any items be pulled for separate consideration, that will require a request from the a member of the Board of Supervisors. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and fellow members of the community. I'm Ryan Walter, a former oilfield driller, a father, and current Cal scholar. I ask that item 30 be pulled from consent for further discussion and review. I speak in opposition to proposed new budget increase for local child support agency, as the proposed new budget is premature at this time and lacks statutory structure. Definition and authority for time constraint, definition of terms such as the plan, operations program, new technology, deep learning, hyperledger fabric, etc., shall refer to Title 4, Part D of Social Security Act, Title 42 U.S.C. Section 655 et al., to the 2018 Public-Private Analytic Exchange Program Report, Blockchain and its Suitability for Government Applications through the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, and the State of California's 2019 and 20 Budget Legislative Analysis Office, LAO, analysis of proposed increase in state funding for local child support agencies, LCSAs, a copy of which has been submitted to the board. Argument is current LCSA enforcement practices mostly only promote tribal bureaucracy, do not support families, and are harmful to non-custodial parents' employability, the economy, and to society as a whole, and therefore should not receive any more funding until such time as described in the 2019-20 LAO budget analysis, as we are attempting to deal as reasonable people coming to a reasonable solution in the interests of children, and await statutorily required documents of LCSA reports for identification of departmental operational efficiencies and refinements to budget methodology set for July 1, 2019. The proposed new budget is premature at this time and lacks statutory structure. Remedy: any future budget increases should not seek to do more of a bad job and rather should be applied to LAO recommendations to seek new technologies such as distributed ledger or Hyperledger Fabric with Oracle to redefine child support and aligning the mutual benefit for children, non-custodial parents' ability to provide, and for society, for posterity.
I'm sorry, at the beginning of this, did you give us your name?
My name is Ryan Walter,
Thank you, sir.
and thank you.
So are you asking that item 30 be, that we have separate consideration and separate discussion of that, or do you just want to make that statement?
I would like to enter the statement to record and have further discussion. Yes, sir. On the LOA report that I have submitted.
Yes.
You'll see their findings under executive summary. The LAO recommendation states very specifically here.
I understand, but so your request is to have separate consideration of that.
Absolutely, sir.
You got it. That takes a request from the member of the Board of Supervisors. Is anybody interested in doing that? I think we should, I'll request that. We'll remove item 30 from the consent calendar. I believe the department head is here and can, I don't know if she can address all of those concerns, but she can address this item certainly.
Chairman,
Thank you.
I'll second that
Thank you.
request.
Do you need a motion to that, council? No. Okay, we're going to remove item 30 from the consent calendar. Is there anyone else that would like to remove any other items or make any other comments on any items on the consent calendar? If seeing none, I'll return it to the board for action on the consent calendar.
Motion consent.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes with the exception of item 30.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. We're going to take item 30 in its normal sequence, so we're going to go back to page 2 and start with item 1. This is under the resolutions and proclamations portion of the meeting. Item 1 is a proclamation proclaiming June 2019 as Elder Abuse Awareness Month in Kern County, and it will be presented by Supervisor Maggard.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Colleagues, I stand before you today for us to celebrate proclaiming June 2019 as Elder Abuse Awareness Month in Kern County. Elder abuse is a critical global issue. In fact, the United Nations recognized World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. They do that every June 15th. Kern Aging and Adult Services is in a joint collaboration with the District Attorney's Office, the Kern Commission on Aging, and the Kern County Behavioral Health and Recovery Services, as they will together host the 22nd Annual Elder Abuse Prevention Conference on June 13th. You can tell us more about that in a minute. I'm joined by Lito Murillo, our director of our Aging and Adult Services Department. This is a shocking number. In 2018, Aging and Adult Services investigated 4,329 referrals regarding concerns over elder and dependent adult abuse. 40% of those were financial investigations. I'd like to hear more about that too, if you could share that with us. So Lito, let me read to you here. It is our pleasure as the board, we have just voted to proclaim that June 2019 will be Elder Abuse Awareness Month in Kern County. It's been entered into our official board minutes with the signature of our chairman, the Honorable David Couch, on the 4th day of June 2019. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you. You've helped specifically my constituents over the years. I'm very grateful for that. I'd like to hear more about what we're going to do.
Thank you, Supervisor Maggard. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm joined here today by Judy Snyder, one of our commissioners on the Commission on Aging, and Jeremy Oliver, our program director over Adult Protective Services. Thank you for this proclamation. This proclamation actually kicks off our awareness events that we have regarding elder abuse. Every year we host a conference to provide training to our community. This year will be our 22nd annual conference. We hosted in June, as Supervisor Maggard alluded to, because World Elder Abuse Awareness Day is recognized on June 15th. As you know, there's various forms of elder abuse. There's physical, sexual abuse, mental, emotional abuse. There's neglect, including self-neglect. There's also financial abuse, as we all know. The last specific abuse is the main topic of this year's conference. It's centered around financial abuse as well as estate planning, something that we've never really touched upon. But in order to really safeguard yourself as you grow older, estate planning is one of those key areas that you need to be focused on. Elder abuse is a growing issue in our community. It impacts all persons of all walks of life. Typically, in most referrals that we get, whether you're looking at emotional abuse, neglect, physical abuse, there's always some element of financial abuse. Therein lies the incentive for many of our perpetrators, especially when we're talking about scams against seniors. In 2012, we averaged about 200 referrals a month. Now in 2019, we're averaging close to 400 referrals a month. A huge jump, and this jump will only increase as more and more seniors age. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank your staff, particularly the social workers at Aging and Adult Services, for the tireless work that they do in safeguarding our seniors and protecting them from harm. Now I'd like to turn it over to Jeremy Oliver, who's going to talk a little bit more about the conference.
Thank you, and thank you for the proclamation in support of the elder abuse awareness for the month of June. As already stated, financial abuse takes many forms for seniors and disabled adults. Who here has received a phone call from the IRS claiming that you owe back taxes? It's okay, audience participation's allowed. Okay. Yeah, so one of the best analogies that we've come across with describing senior financial abuse is imagine a tube of toothpaste, okay, and remove the cap. Now go ahead and squeeze that toothpaste. Now try and get all that toothpaste back into the tube. This is what happens to our seniors when they are victims of financial abuse. They're not able to get their money back into their accounts or back into their savings. One of the ways that you can protect yourself and your loved ones is through proper estate planning, such as developing powers of attorneys, advanced healthcare directives, wills, trusts, all those critical elements to ensure that your wishes and your intentions are carried forward should you have any incidents of a stroke or development of Alzheimer's disease or any of those types of conditions that will interfere with your ability to carry out your plans in the future. Unfortunately, we've even seen these documents used as instruments to abuse people. So they've been developed or the senior has been taken victim by getting coerced into setting up a power of attorney or a will or something along those lines that they weren't quite aware of, taken advantage of in their decline in mental cognition. Thankfully, in Kern County, we have great support systems to aid us in the fight against elder abuse, such as your board, the Commission on Aging, our District Attorney's Office, Sheriff's Office, Behavioral Health and Recovery Services, Public Health, Veterans Affairs, Long-Term Care Ombudsman, other local law enforcement agencies, and our other county departments. It's through this collaborative effort and ongoing efforts to educate that we will continue to protect the seniors and dependent adults in our community and seek justice on their behalf. This is why I'm pleased to announce the 22nd Elder Abuse Conference is titled Estate Planning and Financial Abuse. Our event will be held Thursday, June 13th, which is just prior to World Elder Abuse Awareness Day at Hodell's Country Dining. We will have Kira Wattenberg-King, an attorney and expert on wills, powers of attorney, and other estate planning documents, as well as experts from the Federal Bureau of Investigations as presenters for our conference. We will continue to bring additional information to this board of the ongoing efforts being made in the county of Kern. And again, thank you for proclamation in support of elder abuse awareness.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thanks for being here. I'm sorry, Supervisor Press.
Thank you, Chairman. Lito, I have a couple of questions. I'm not sure that we've ever talked about the constituent that I helped back when I used to work for Senator Rubio, who was being scammed by some overseas entity. And it was truly the most confounding constituent case I've ever had in my life in 2 decades. The amount of control and influence over this senior citizen was more than anything that I could comprehend. And we would work with him extensively to understand that he was not in trouble, he was not in potential of violence, that this is a scam, and he kept giving them his money. And it was one of the most heartbreaking, eye-opening experiences for me to think about the mental health condition of this person and how much that was related to the ability to manipulate him to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars. I still cannot wrap my head around it. So this is very important. All of us, if we're lucky, will be elderly at some point. This is for all of us. It's for our children. It's for the betterment of society, obviously. But I would like to know if you can communicate with me later, if there's some way I can help recruit attorneys to maybe do some of the estate planning. it would because that's expensive, right? People that usually you don't have attorneys doing that for pro bono, but there are lots of good folks in the community who would help elderly that are otherwise live check to check or have financial limitations. I would certainly want to be a part of that process. So please keep me in the loop, and please understand for the public, this is very real. I experienced it at the senator's office. It went on for a year and a half, and I don't know that we ever helped that man out of that situation. We certainly tried. And it was really eye-opening. So thank you for what you're doing, bringing attention to this matter. I mean, if more people know about it, we certainly can improve the situation and put checks and balances in place through good-hearted lawyers in town that we can really make it a simple process. So I would be delighted to work with you on that.
Thank you. Thank you for that offer, too.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you, Supervisor Maggard. Item 2 proclaims June through July 2019 as Kern County Library's annual Summer Reading Challenge and Lunch at the Library, and it will be presented by Supervisor Gleason.
Motion on proclamation.
You have a
Second.
motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
I have a proclamation here, and I'm privileged and honored to do this. Andy, thank you very much for the opportunity for the Board of Supervisors to officially proclaim June through July 2019 as Kern County Library's annual Summer Reading Challenge and Lunch at the Library. The Summer Reading Challenge is a county-wide program that celebrates the vital role libraries play in providing children of all ages with the resources they need to learn and grow into thriving working adults. Alongside our summer reading efforts, the summer lunches will be provided to kids and teens at 14 library sites across the county. The Summer Lunch Program is a statewide collaboration between the Kern County Library, California Library Association, Summer Meal Association or Coalition, Institute for Local Government, and multiple Kern County school districts. This is just another glaring example of the success our county library is having since its new leadership has been taking the reins. I'm pleased to see here and offer this on the follow-on week for the Touch a Truck or whatever we did. I mean, you guys are doing phenomenal work. Andy, it's over to you. Thank you very much for all you do and your staff for all they do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Pleasure. Good morning, Andy Sullivan, your Director of Libraries for Kern County. June, July is always the exciting part of my year because summer reading and summer challenge is really personal to me because that's where I started as a children's librarian. And I've really ran with literacy efforts in our county and made summer reading and reading overall throughout the school year one of my priorities. And we had Touch a Truck and summer reading kickoffs all over the county this past weekend, about 3,000 people at the Beale Library. We had a lot of county departments participate along with the CAO and General Services, so it was a great success. And we have summer lunches. Again, we doubled the amount of sites this year. We had 7 sites around the county. We have 14 this year. So I will allow my colleague Jasmine Labasso, who's been coordinating that effort, to give you a little bit more.
So to add on to what Andy was saying, not only did we double our sites, but this year we're also offering our first breakfast location in Rosemont. We're very excited to see how that goes and to see how the community takes to it. The other really big addition that we did this year is we added a service called Beanstack, which is an online platform to sign up. We've had an online platform in the past, but this one is really, really amazing. It allows people to download an app to track their reading. It also allows parents and families and even classrooms and teachers to take their readers and add them all together into one account. So it's really easy to get the whole family involved, to encourage activities at home and to encourage reading no matter where you're at, not just coming in physically to the library to do it. Those two things have been our really big things this year. The Touch a Truck went really well, and we're continuing to commit to the idea that there is a program at every single library, every single day that we're open through June and July. So there's literally something for free for everybody to do in the community. And we hope that our community comes out and enjoys those things. We've actually brought our brochures, which are large. It's a large stack. But that's pretty much it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
We get a picture, we get a picture. I'll go anywhere. I'll go anywhere. Get in the middle, get in the middle. Yeah. No.
in the middle.
Get in the middle. You're the star.
Thanks, Lauren.
Congratulations on a great event, by the way.
Thank you.
Very well attended. Next item is public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons to address the board on any matter that is not on the agenda but is under the jurisdiction of the board. We'll get to item 30 after this. But if you'd like to speak now, you may, but we're going to give you another chance when we take up item 30.
Whichever you prefer, Mr. Chairman.
Item 30 is probably better. I mean, wait till we get to that item. Absolutely. Is there anyone here who would like to make a comment or presentation on anything that's not on the agenda but under the jurisdiction of the board? Seeing none, go to item 11, which is board member announcements and reports.
I have one, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Supervisor Maggard.
I want to just publicly recognize that we have just appointed Lauren Skidmore to serve as a member of our Planning Commission. I'm looking forward to her service to our community. She is a splendid young lady who is going to make a significant difference in our community as we all go forward. So I want to thank her for her service and apologize to her family for the hours we're going to take her away from them.
Thank you. I don't know if this is a referral or a request for information, but it's to the Public Health Department. I had a opportunity to be in Los Angeles this past weekend, and I've read some recent news articles, and then I had a short conversation with Supervisor Perez this morning about what they're experiencing down there with regard to at least one case of typhoid and predictions of the plague. And I just would like maybe a report back from the Public Health Department on what your feelings and thoughts are on that type of thing and how prepared are we. Sometimes the bad things that happen in LA tend to come over the hill and visit us. And I just would like us to be prepared. I know that sounds unbelievable, but and I don't even know if those news reports are accurate, but could you come back with something like that, Mr. Constantine? Thank you. Don't see any other announcements or reports, so we'll go to item 30. And it is a proposed addition of several positions in the Child Support Services. Would you like to make a comment? And I would ask you, if you could, I know that was a lot of information you got from Mr. Walter, but could you also try and address as much of that as you could?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. I'm excited to be here today. I'm not sure if you remember, but back when I was appointed as a director, I immediately started on a path with 12 other directors to evaluate the funding for our program. And through that evaluation last year, we were successful enough to receive $800,000 for our budget, and we were able to hire 7 more staff members to add to our team, because currently, based on the staffing level that we have 350 cases per FTE, which is higher than any other of the other counties that have comparable size caseload. So through our efforts and meeting with our association, along with the actual the actual Department of Child Support Services at the state level, we were successful in the governor including us in his budget this year. We're really excited because this increase will allow us to hire staff, which will affect immediately the caseload that we have. We have currently 51,000 cases in our caseload, and of those cases, we have 21% of our children that live in poverty. So having this additional funding with additional staffing will allow us to affect those cases to ensure the children of our community truly receive the services they're entitled to. I have the LAO report. This is something we've been working with since when it came out in March. And aside from that, the governor still has included our program in his budget because he believes in lifting children out of poverty. The state, we've gone to the state and the assembly, and they both passed, the Senate and the assembly both passed this. When they reviewed it, we have the support of the Department of Finance. What I'm trying to do today is, because the funds will come in July, it has not been taken out of the governor's budget, and we believe it's going to be left intact. I'm trying to begin the process so that on July 1st, I'm able to have staff on board, begin the training process so that by the end of the year, I have successfully hired the staff and started to affect the cases, because there's performance that's going to be included with this. They're not just giving us funds. They're expecting us to start to increase the level of service to our customers. It'll also allow me to go out into the communities that are underserved, which, as oddly as it may seem, is East Bakersfield. We've identified some area codes that are underserved for our caseload. Delano is another one, Shafter and Wasco. So Arvin and Lamont, we're looking and we're being purposeful, and where we're going to be placing staff after they've completed training and we've gotten into the next year. I would also like to mention that this is one of 3 increases to our allocation. So next year, I am expecting to receive the same amount in the following year, so it'll be a total of $13 million coming to Kern County. I'm not sure if anyone remembers, but back when we were under the district attorney's office, we had over 300 staff members. With the addition of the $800,000 last year and the savings from our move to our new location, we have increased to 190 staff members. So having these additional staff members is going to make a difference to our caseload and to the customers that we serve. I don't know if you have any other questions. That's basically why this is on the agenda. We're trying to get the positions in place, begin the recruitment so we can begin the training. I don't want to return any money. I want to spend it all and serve the children of Kern County.
For the record, Liz Chavez.
Oh, sorry, Elizabeth Chavez, Director of Child Support Services.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Stay in the front row if you would, just to see in case we have a question. Mr. Walter, let me also ask, County Council, Mr. Walter's presentation or comments sounded legal, like you needed to weigh in there. Do you recall those comments, and do you have any comments to make before we turn to him?
Chairman Couch, I tried to catch most of them. He did share a lot of information, but I don't believe that there are any legal concerns that we would need to address at this time.
Thank you. Mr. Walter.
Yes. First of all, I believe that I am Ryan Walter.
By the way, can I start with a question?
Yes.
I'm trying to read between the lines here. Have you or someone that you know had a bad experience with child support services?
While owing 0 arrears and having paid on time always, I was reported as a consistently late deadbeat and my career ruined.
So the answer to that is an obvious yes.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Chavez, can we work with him to remedy that as best we can? If in fact that in fact is the case.
Well, we can review his case and see if there's anything we can do. I can't remedy anything that happened in the past. We can only work proactively from this point forward, because there are regulations and things that happen outside of anything we do physically in a case.
Understood, but if
Sure.
what he's describing is the case.
Yes, we will review his case if he is willing to provide us this case information.
On that, I would like to refer back to the gentleman earlier's comments about trying to put toothpaste back into a tube.
Understood.
Okay,
I'm trying to get you some help here.
Absolutely, sir.
If you're not interested in that, I appreciate that.
I do appreciate
okay.
that. But this goes on to the LOA's analysis of what's going on. There are federally, there are new directives coming down, and all of this is to be reviewed on July 1st. July 1st is an important date, and I believe this is a preemptive cash grab. That's the basic. That's the basis of this argument and why I'm here today. I believe that child support, that since 1999, it is a fact that suicide rate has risen by 30%, and 7 out of 10 of those are divorced males. I believe that she mentioned when it was taken from the DA's office. That was in the restructuring of 1999. The funding that has been done through Title IV Part D of the Social Security Act down to California legislature down to the LSCAs is performance-based. Performance being based on actions against deadbeats. That is how they're funded. I would refer back to one of my favorite people in the world, Nobel Prize winning economist Milton Friedman's views on how public funds work. Agencies always cite underfunding as the reason for doing a bad job. As California outperforms the national average, and this is all in the report that I've provided, they exceed the national average on actions against deadbeats. And I will say that their actions also create deadbeats, as they did in my situation. They outperform in action the national average, while the national average $4 spent, $4 received for child support is $1 spent for, I believe it's $5.70. It's over $5, where in California, for every dollar spent, only a little over $2 are recovered. So we see, while we are spending more to get less in California, there's something structurally, intrinsically wrong with the way we're doing business here. And the analysis of proposed increase in state funding for local child support agencies by the LOA for 2019-20 budget addresses this very specifically and goes on. In the executive summary that I mentioned earlier, we recommend that the legislature withhold action on the current proposal until the administration submits, 1, the statutorily required report identifying state and local operation efficiencies, and 2, a proposal to refine the current budget methodology based on the finding of the report as previously directed by the legislature. This is from the Legislative Analyst's Office.
Understood. Thank you very much. I'm going to go to the CAO here.
Thank you.
Mr. Alsop, did you punch in further?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I just want, with all due respect to Mr. Walter, I think his comments really should be directed to the state legislature. Your board does not determine how this money gets spent. This is all determined through adoption of policy by the administration and the state legislature. Our Child Support Services Department is merely a pass-through for money that flows through the state legislature. It is not a money grab. It is the money that Ms. Chavez is talking about is money that is being allocated to Kern County, and a decision being made by at the state level. So I would respectfully request that Mr. Walter take his comments up with the state. It'd probably be more productive there.
I will, but we know that good government starts at the local level, and there is already money being allocated following the process as an inflationary budget increase has been done. I believe that is the $800,000 that she was describing. This other, and I want to refer.
Mr. Walter,
I will refer to this. This should be thoroughly analyzed before you do that, because I am not a lawyer. I am a pre-law student, and I cannot say whether or not I can't give legal recommendations, but I can give my opinion of what I believe this says is that the governor's budget proposal here breaks the law.
That comment is noted, but I want to make sure before you leave here, you understand, I am asking the department, this board is asking Ms. Chavez, who runs the Child Support Services, to help address the issue that you brought up earlier.
Absolutely.
Ask for your, if you need help with that, if you want to try to put some of the toothpaste back in the tube, she could help you do that.
Every little bit helps.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
You bet. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comment on this particular item, item 30? Thank you. Seeing none, I'll return to the board for questions, comments, or action.
Motion on staff's recommendation.
I would like to make a second, Chairman, if I could also make a comment for a
Certainly.
moment. Thank you, Liz. Thank you for everything that you're doing in your department to improve services and also, give a really good bang for the buck to the taxpayer who wants to see this kind of operation be one that's sustainable and efficient over time. It's what makes sense and what is going to make it all work so much better, obviously. So thank you. I think you have a breath of fresh air in so many ways. And lots of people are very excited about your leadership. So keep up the good work. We're here for you. And I think the more you expand and bring more resources in, it is better for all of us. It makes for a healthier community, a better workforce. It's all connected. So thank you.
So we have a motion by Gleason, a second by Perez. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
And Supervisor Maggard has a comment about this item, I believe.
Elizabeth, I just wanted to express my personal condolences to you and your family on your loss, and I pray that your family is together and comforting to one another in the time that's ahead.
Thank you. I think that takes us to the end of the morning agenda. We just need a motion to adjourn to closed session.
So moved.
Without objection, we're adjourned. Thank you.